Good evening, everybody. 18 minutes has begun. Season number 2, race number 2. We're in Sakia, Belgium, for this evening's race. Good evening to you all. There is a PC European Series going on at the same time as well. That is live on YouTube. Feel free to switch between the two once we get to the interesting points. I think that is a little bit ahead of us, but nonetheless, it doesn't really matter. We've got 14 races here this evening. I'm just trying to map out what happened last week in Australia, and the winner of that was Midnight. He's here this evening. Good Guy came second. He's here this evening. Geordie came third. He's here. Luke came fourth. He's here. Is Islander here? I don't think he is. Linus is here. Armchair Bike is here. Ryan Webb isn't. TNR TJ, he's not here either. And I believe Valentino is Danestar. So we got a couple of drivers that are not here but were here last week, so they'll be missing out on some points. And we got some drivers that weren't here last week but are here now, looking to work their way up the drivers and constructors championship. And we are here in Bahrain, which is it's a 15 corner track. We've got 29 laps, I believe, tonight. It's 57 for 100%. Half it plus 0.5. There's your answer. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what the pace is. Race Spec is the first of the main leagues of the week, so it's a good opportunity for people that do that race in other leagues, commentate in other leagues. It's a good chance for them to see what the pace is. Obviously make some notes on it as we go, try and learn the sector times as much as we can. We've got a range of tyre compounds initially. People, some varying levels of practice has probably taken place as well, with some drivers probably having quite a bit of practice. Some drivers maybe have done zero practice. I'm sure over time we will see who has put in the extra work. Let's take you on a lap of Bahrain. So this is Mr. Midnight in his Williams car coming past the start finish line. This is the first DRS zone of the map, and we come into a tricky turn 1. Now there is a track guide on the YouTube of RaceBet, which I'm sure some of them might have watched. This is turn number 2, this is turn number 3, the second DRS zone, up down to turn number 4. And drivers can abuse this a little bit on the left hand side, as you can see Midnight doing. So that's turn 4. We got a turn 5, which is this little left one, 6 here, and then turn 7 here. Turn 8 is down here. This is very easy to lock up the front right tyre, as you saw Midnight doing that tiny little bit. You get the power down as early as possible. There's a little 9 here, and this is very easy to lock up your front left tyre. That's turn 10. This is the third DRS zone of the lap. 3 DRS zones, of course, in Bahrain, so it leads to some good overtaking opportunities. This is turn number 11, which counts as all the way around this way. This is turn number 12, and you can see some good interesting driving lines that drivers can do at Bahrain to help their times. This is turn number 13, and this is along what we call maybe the back straight before 2 more turns onto the final one. This is turn number 14, and the little one just here is turn number 15. If I'm technical, it's probably 1 corner. So there's a lap of Bahrain for you. Midnight goes across the line, second place, 28.256 on the hard compound. 5 of the cars that have put in lap times, they've done them on the hard compound so far. Blues and Ball has gone 27.3 on the soft tyre. I'm sure we can get quicker than that eventually. A little bit later on in the session, we'll see who's on a lap. I think RC Sen. I did see him in China, but I think he's cancelled the lap. We will watch the good guy come through on the soft compound very, very soon, and we'll get an idea probably in the next 5-6 minutes of what times we can be looking for. Initially, the drivers are just getting used to the track. It's Bahrain, so I'm guessing it's going to be all dry. I'll be very surprised if it wasn't. I don't think I've ever had a wet Bahrain before. This is Chapelele in the Mercedes on the hard compound tyre. He crosses the line with a 28.5 and that puts him 4th fastest. The Mercedes are, I call them visual maybe, is coming into the pits now. RU Racing comes across the line on the medium compound, puts in a 28.7 and he goes, okay, I'm guessing that was invalidated, no problem. We'll keep on board with Linus, who's on the soft compound tyre, looking to put a decent lap in. Linus last week in Albert Park finishing 6th position. He got 8 points for Renault and he was the only driver participating for Renault during last week. So he is, has he got a teammate today? He has. So he has got Chain Game Wow to help him tonight get some points. F1 Linus was going to cross the line. He decides to come into the pits at a rate of knots, shall we say. Trying to work out who's on a lap. Chapelele might be on a lap. Let's find out if he has improved on his 28.5. He might be coming into the pits, to be fair. Yeah. We, some would say I do have a crystal ball, and this is Luke's going half a tenth. That's slower than his lapped time at the moment. He's coming into the pits, and that's probably a very good reason. Chain Game Wow is a 100th of a second up on his time, probably going into the pits, and everyone is, I think, coming into the pits. That's their first stint done. So we've just killed off 7 minutes of their qualifying time. There's a Toro Rosso going out there. I think that's Archer. Oh no, it might be Geordie actually. It isn't Geordie. Who's Geordie's teammate this evening? I think there was a Toro Rosso going out. I'm pretty sure there was. Not quite sure though. So R2 Seb will be going into the pits. Oh, it was Geordie. I thought it was. I believe Geordie's on a quicker lap. And we'll see what the second sector time is in a second once he comes round to number 12. He's 1 second up on his time, so he's looking at about 28.7 at the moment. It's going to help him probably one position, we think. Armchair Bike goes second, 27.991. RC Sen goes third, 28.237. No soft times yet apart from Pleasant Boy and Chapelele. Geordie comes through the line 28.5, 1.2 seconds up on his time, goes 5th fastest for now. Vizzy or Viz. He's on the medium compound and he's going for a flying lap. We'll see what the first sector time is. He goes 4 tenths up, 28.150. So goes 29 dead at a minute, which isn't going to move him a position. We'll see what I can do through the second sector. The Alfa Romeo of Valentino or Plusenball letting him pass. It'll be interesting to see what happens this evening in Bahrain because, of course, we're doing the full calendar. But it's a good opportunity very early on to get a bit of a head start in not only the Drivers' Championship, but you're also playing for your teammates. And of course, some people haven't been to both races yet, which is, you know, it's a little bit disappointing because there'll be drivers in F2 that, you know, would turn up for every single race, and it'd be probably better for them to, even though we might not have the outright pace, have the experience of doing 20 car grids. You know, the Pacific Series has been flying, to be fair. The PC Series, I don't know how many they've got. Okay, I'll have a little check, but I'd probably put my life on it that they'd have more than 14. I'll just have a quick look. They've actually only got 16. The Pacific Series had 20. So I think the Pacific Series is doing really, really well. The Elite Series didn't have many. So, you know, I guess you have to compare yourself to the other leagues, but it would be nice to be seeing for the top tier on PS4 a little bit more than 14. But we will crack on. Don't want to put a downer on Bahrain, because at the end of the day, Bahrain is I mean, some drivers don't like it, but from an overtaking point of view, it's brilliant. There was a race yesterday or this evening on Race Spec, a different tier, but the actual finish was literally less than a tenth of a second. They were fighting to the last lap, and the second place car got past the first car on the last turn, and that's the kind of stuff we want to see, of course. That's what we're here for. That's what I'm here for, and I'm sure that's what you're here for. Shapalele is now on the softer compound, and he goes 1.3 seconds quicker. Ball sets a new provisional pole time, 27.175, and I think that will be beaten by Shapalele. It would have been beaten, but he decides to pit instead. Just trying to find out who's on an armchair bike. He's on a new set of soft tyres, and he's 3.5 temps up at the moment, and I'm sure he'll be looking to beat that 27.175 to have a good chance at taking provisional pole. Armchair bike last week in Australia finished in 7th place. He took home 6 points for Red Bull. Unfortunately for Red Bull and him, he was the only driver there, so that's the only points they got. In terms of constructors in Albert Park, Racing Point had 2 drivers who finished 2nd and 4th, which was good. They came out with 30 points. Williams had 1 driver, which was Midnight. He won the race, so he got 25, so Williams was 2nd. Toro Rosso got 20, 3rd and an 8th. The 8th getting a fastest lap too. Armchair bike crosses the line 27.2, 3/4 of a second quicker, 1/700ths off pole. Not too bad. He might settle for that. He might have another pair of softs. I am not too sure. I don't think anyone is on a fast lap at the minute. Ferrari got 10 points. That was War Islander who finished 5th. Renault 8, of course, Linus, Red Bull 6. Mercedes got 2 points. That was TJ finishing 9th, and Alfa Romeo got a point. The other Alfa Romeo car finished 11th, which was Ball, but today he's looking okay for the pace so far. Anyway. Quite a few people on their outlaps. Geordie is on a fresh set of medium tyres. Linus has left the session. Geordie is 2 temps up at the minute on his time, so with a decent 2nd and 1st sector, he could be looking, I mean, if he cuts off 4 temps of a second, he could be looking at a 5th place position. I don't know what the strategy is. I think it's soft to medium. I'd have to ask for drivers, of course, because I'm not a professional at this, at the driver skill malarkey. On career mode, you can get away with soft to hard to soft, but on here, I don't know. Geordie goes 5th fastest, like we predicted. Half a second up, 10th to 5th. He goes. Will he have time to pit? I don't think he will, so I'm guessing he's opting for a medium strategy, and so is Sikuzi. RC Sen is was on a 28.237. He's currently 2 temps up. We'll see after turn 12 what kind of time RC Sen is looking like, and he's over 3/4 of a second up. So he's looking really good for a 27.5 at the moment. And if he finishes well, and this will be his final lap, he's looking at a top 3 position here. If he nails this last bit, he gets away, uses as much curve as humanly possible, whacks on the DRS, crosses the line, 27.3, 9 tenths quicker, goes third fastest for now. I don't think, there's a couple of people going out, Luke, Midnight, all on mediums. The top 4 have set a soft time, the next 5 on mediums, and we'll see if anyone can break past the 27.4s on mediums, which sounds like a little challenge. Armchair Bike has gone out on a fresh pair of softs, and he's going to look for to beat the leader for provisional pole by only 7/100ths of a second. So the question is, can he do it? I'm sure he'll try his best. We will remain on board. I don't think, although I do not doubt Luke's driving skill, I don't think he's going to knock off more than a second on a set of mediums, and I don't think Midnight will either. But we'll be looking for a strong contentional time on the medium compound. So we'll remain with the Red Bull of Armchair Bike, because he's probably going to be the only person that's going to have a good shot at knocking off 7/100ths of a second to take provisional pole. And if you get that inside line in Bahrain now in turn 1, you're probably in with a good chance of getting away well and maybe cracking on with the race. For those of you that do watch some of my highlights videos and commentaries, you will know as well as I do, but I have not had a racing car yet, which is can it be done this evening? Will we have a safety car this evening? That is the question. Right, the lap from the Red Bull has begun. Chapelele is going to be in, but he's going to be on the medium. So we'll keep an eye on this Red Bull, and he has to knock off 7/100ths of a second to take provisional pole of Plizenbol. Plizenbol's happy with it. He stayed in the pits. He took his 27.1 and gone, yep, I'll start on those tyres, no problem. But Armchair Bike's going to go, potentially, no. I want pole, and we'll see. I did not actually see what his first sector time was because I wasn't really paying attention to that side of the screen. But we will find out in a little while after the DRS zone and 11 and 12 whether this Red Bull is in contention. Sen has locked in that 4th position for now. Are you racing in the same? They're both in the. Is that McLaren? I think it's McLaren. Could never tell with the colour coordination. So sector 2, Armchair Bike is 8/100ths up. He's currently at provisional pole by 1/100th of a second. Let's see if we can get pole. 27.175 to beat. He goes 27.105, and he takes provisional pole. Chapelele, he's going to cross the line. I think he's up on his time to protect the other tyres. And Armchair Bike has stolen pole of Plizenboy by 7/100ths, equaling out for both of them there. The good guy is saving his DRS. Sikorsky's going slower by 7/100ths of a second. What is it with 7/100ths at Bahrain? Linus is also basically 7/100ths down. 7/100ths is meaning a lot this evening. Can he improve on his time, Linus? He needs to be the ones. He beats it by 7/100ths of a second. So many 7/100ths, and I believe that is the end of quali. The good guys coming into the pits, and we'll get the final confirmation of the standings for you. But there's your front row. Armchair Bike steering it at the end. Plizenbol in the Alfa Romeo 2nd, Chapelele 3rd, RC Sen 4th, 3rd grid Are You Racing Midnight, 4th grid Geordie F1 and Good Guy, 5th grid Causey Chain Genwell, Luke Valentino, Linus and Vizzy after that. and the gap being from first to 10th, sorry, first and 9th, 7/10 of a second. So a pretty close gap this evening, which is interesting. We'll just wait for the drivers to get their final bit of relaxation time before we get on with this this fast circuit, the overtaking dream for some of the drivers. Once, to be fair, if you think about this circuit as a whole, once they've completed the difficult turn 8 and the difficult turn 10, other than that, it's a pretty simple track. So we'll expect to see some lockups on the front right for 8, front left for 10. We expect to see some overshooting of the braking, and we expect to see some good overtaking. We hope there's no collisions into turn 1. Want to give the admins an easy ride for Bahrain, but not also that. We want to make sure all these drivers try and don't get any DNFs on this circuit. You know, there's only really one slippy curve, and if you go off a curve at 12, that's probably the only one that's a bit slippy. Other than that, you know, where can you really go wrong? So hopefully the drivers get out of the first lap clean, and then use their racing etiquette, shall we call it, to have as many people racing and finishing as possible. Like I said, Midnight, Good Guy and Geordie were the top 3 in Australia. They will be looking for exactly the same. Some of the drivers starting on the medium compound, some drivers started on the soft compound, so some people on different strategies, which is good to see. And if those medium compounds can keep the track position and not get too far behind when they swap to the soft tyres, they've probably got a good chance. Let's have a look at the formation lap beginning. The light is out and the cars begin their formation lap, of course. And those are your tyres for you, ladies and gentlemen. So the top 2 on the front row on the soft compound tyre, Chapelele on the medium compound in 3rd place. Not a bad qualifying position on that tyre. We've also got a 15th driver in Gazzy 10. He will be driving on behalf of the Ferrari, who hasn't got a teammate this evening. For what I would isn't here. RC Sen, Are You Racing, doing exactly the same strategy on the soft compound, 4th and 5th. One's on the 2nd row, one's on the 3rd row, and every single driver after that, from 6th to 15th, are on the medium compound. So is the medium to soft the strategy to go? Pretty sure it's not medium to hard. I know the track is hot and it burns them a little bit, and obviously the pace and the lockups that these drivers will probably be doing. But I'm pretty sure that's the strat. I'll try and log into the chat now, because I haven't actually been paying too much attention. I apologise. I've just been cracking on with my job. So please, of course, any predictions, any questions, any comments, whack them there. I've got it open. I will be able to see and reply once we've done the lap 1 madness. We're just hoping for a nice clean start and get everyone through, really. 15 drivers. I want 15 by the end of the first lap. So, and it's not nice to see when someone hasn't really done anything wrong and they have to pit early and put hards on. It's just not. It's not quite the same. And we will try. I'll probably start off with the position changes, just so I kind of get to grips with what's happening. That's a piece of commentary advice. Myself, Armchair Bike, taking it as slow as possible to get that car warmed up, ready for the 29 laps of Sakir to come. 40 to 45 minutes, probably 40 minutes with this pace of pure speed to come. Not as much as Italy, but there's a good percentage of power on this track. I think it's like 67% or something like that, which is done at full power, which is quite interesting. And I don't think I have a dynamic view. I think we have the green flags. The lights are now on for race 2 of season 2 It's lights out, away we go. We'll find out who gets a good start. The Alfa Romeo Plusenball gets a decent start. He's wheel to wheel with the Red Bull coming down into turn 1. Who can get the inside line? There's a massive crash of the win. It's chain getting well. I'll try and see that back on the stream if I can play it back. My voice is croaking. And the Alfa Romeo leads out of turn 3, down to turn 4 we go. The Red Bull tries to get as much slipstream as humanly possible into the tough turn 4. We go for the vehicles. The Alfa Romeo of Plusenboy leads, and he's got the Red Bull right up his gearbox. We'll try and head back down the grid a little bit to see what happens. So there's 2 cars at the back that drop 5 positions. That's causing chain game wow. Really far at the back. I think there's a car going off the track there, and the Renault and the Ferrari have collided, and that was Linus and Gasly. I didn't kind of see what happened. So there's 2 massive collisions, one down the straight to turn 1 and 1, 5, 6 and 7. But down to turn 11 we go. The Alfa Romeo, the Red Bull still leading at the front. Chapelele hasn't changed his position. RU Racing's gone up 1. He's replaced his teammate in the McLaren. I'm sure they'll be a little bit easier with each other on what happens there. Midnight stay the same, Jordan stay the same, Good Guys stay the same, 6th, 7th, 8th respectively. Valentino's up 3 to 9th, Luke's up 1 to 10th. Vizzy's up 3 to 11th, Gasly's up 3 to 12th, and the bottom 3 have had a little bit of a nightmare to Bahrain. I'll try and get some inside notice from other people that are streaming the race. And on to lap 2 we go, 1 minute 33.7 later. And down to turn 1 we go. I think there was a potential overtake from the Red Bull. I don't, maybe not in the end. I thought I saw him diving on the inside of turn 1, but he doesn't. And up towards turn 4 now we go. All the cars so far, apart from the bottom 3, are within a decent gap of each other so far. If we do the leader gap for you, the gap between 1st and 11th is only 5 seconds, which is good to see. I'm just going to try and spot any overtakes down to turn 8 if anyone makes a dive. That's a good view. Could give me that more option, F1. You can see how close the first 11 cars actually are in that shot. The Alfa Romeo of Valentino getting a little bit shaky out of turn 8. Yeah, the last 12 to 15 so far are, as you can see, 1 stop for them so far. I'm guessing we're going on to the hard. Gasly's got a 3-second pen for multiple warnings. Where's my gap gone? Thank you very kindly. And we'll just keep an eye on the front battles here. I don't have a helping hand. So as soon as I spot an interval gap go less than 3 tenths at the middle of the back, I will jump straight onto it. Don't you worry. The Red Bull trying to take the widest line possible on that curb. RU Racing got a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. We didn't see it in the background, but that's not going to help him when the gaps are this small. The Red Bull is looking to make a move to the inside of turn 1. They break at basically the same point. The Red Bull tries to take as much of the inside curve as he possibly can. Plusenball takes as much of the outside curve as he possibly can, and the Red Bull is probably going to have a better exit here. He gets as much slipstream as he can. The Alfa Romeo is going to try and hug the inside of turn 4, and he does so. I thought the Red Bull was going to look for a little switch back there, but he doesn't, and he retains the outside line. The next turn is the left turn, which the Red Bull has. Then it's a right turn. The Alfa Romeo sticks his nose in and gets it. Down to turn 8 we go. While they're tussling, the cars behind are catching them. The Mercedes makes a dive. Chapelele makes a dive on the Red Bull. He doesn't get it initially. The Red Bull's going to have the inside line to 9 and 10. But the Mercedes, the more he can keep up here with that medium set of tyres on, the better it will be for the future for him in the race. That English didn't make any sense. The Mercedes is going to have a look at the gearbox of the Red Bull armchair bike, but he's not going to have enough room to make a dive into turn 11. But we got to take a watch of this, because of course the DRS is now on, and there'll be lots of overtaking, ladies and gentlemen. The gap from the leader from 10th is only 4.4 seconds. Down to turn 14 we go. The Mercedes is on the outside line. He lets the Red Bull through, maybe to get a better exit past the finish line. Will remain on board. Armchair bike fell behind the Alfa Romeo. The Mercedes has DRS. They are wheel to wheel down the start finish straight, and they were wheel to wheel until the Mercedes has that extra speed to get past. Midnight in. The Williams taking a dive on the Red Bull of Armchair bike. The Williams sticks in with it on the medium compound, uses a bit of a curb on the outset, but he is through. Midnight into third, Chapelele into second. Armchair Bike has gone from pole to fourth place for the moment on the better tyres. So I'm sure, sorry, I keep taking the interval gap off. I don't mean to. And he will be looking forth to get those positions back. Blues and Ball, while those cars were tussling, has now got a 1.1 second lead at the front, and as long as he can increase that little bit by little bit on the softer compound, he should be okay for now. There's a little gap from there was 0.2 tenths, now it's back up to 3. Just trying to catch everything that's happening. Every single car, of course, having DRS. The only unlucky person in that train will be the person that doesn't have it. But I'm pretty sure everyone has it. The minimum gap, the maximum interval gap is 0.8 seconds at the moment. So everyone will have DRS. The gap from 1st to 10th, only 4.8 seconds. The racing is really, really close at the moment. I'm trying to keep on board with everything that's happening. I will do my best. Lobby question tier 3, qualified P2. Oh, good effort, Felipe. Good effort, P2. Chapelele, fastest lap. I'll be beaten a little bit later on. I'm just trying to keep up with all the mini gaps, to be honest, for McLaren. Having a cheeky peek at his teammate, Are You Racing, into down into turn 1, but that didn't happen. A couple of people saving their ERS. Chapelele has reduced the gap to the leader by, it was 1.1 seconds, it's now 0.4. Of course, that Alfa Romeo should be getting ahead in the corners. It seemed to be. Then it dropped, now it's going back up again. So Plusenbold just trying to settle into his racing pace for the moment. I wonder how long this gap can remain at 5 seconds for, from the first place to 10th place. Normally by now it's probably increased to 10 to 12 seconds with an accident, but there hasn't been an accident and the cars are driving really, really well at the moment, and it's good to see. For Williams and Midnight, you would have thought these two would be the VRT crew, but that's not the case. They really want to win. Chapelele wasn't here last week, so he'll be looking for some decent points. Midnight was here. If he gets a good result here, he would have had a fantastic start to the Drivers' Championship. Of course, he won. The good guy got second last week. He's in 4th at the minute with his teammate right on his rear, and that teammate will probably have a little go, but they're both going to have DRS, so we'll see. The slicks is going to help him a bit, as he's a bit far from the Alfa Romeo. His teammate goes down the inside to turn 1. He might try a mini switchback, and he's just happy to let his teammate pass and maybe have a little go out of turn 3 down to turn 4. Can he get enough slipstream? I don't think it's quite long enough down to turn 4, and those positions stay the same. Well, they were 3 wide out of turn 4, then I missed that, unfortunately, but the positions, I think Jody dropped one and Valentino gained one. They were 3 wide out of 4 there, which was very interesting. I just couldn't see it. Victoria Rosso and the Racing Point of Luke having a little bit of a tussle into turn 8, and there may be a couple of overtakes at the second DRS zone in a second. Let's have a look what happens. We'll use the car at the back to see if something happens in front. They're all trying to get a turn out of the slipstream path, so no one can get too much of an advantage, even though the car behind just going to follow and get that advantage anyway. We'll move up to the front. Oh, I think there was a crash there. A bit of contact maybe. Midnight is now in first. Plusenbold is now second. Chapelele is third. I'm not sure what happened. It's a shame I wasn't in there. What was the retired liners part to do with that? I hope it wasn't. There's a yellow flag in sector 2 as chain game. Wow. DNS from the session. I'll see if we can see it on the circuit. Are You Racing has maybe got a bit of damage, or this is the time to pitch? Plusenbold has dropped to third out of turn 1. He'll have the inside curve, but Chapelele goes through in the Mercedes on the median compound. Up to turn 4 we go. I don't think Plusenbold, you can see those tyres were a little bit worn. They don't have any shine in them, so they'll be pitting, I'm sure, very, very soon. 6 laps have been done, and the gap is still 5.2 seconds. which is very good to see. The McLaren chasing the Red Bull of Armchair Bike. Armchair Bikes had a pretty rough start here. He got pole, he dropped to second, dropped to third, dropped to fourth, and now he's got the chasing McLaren on his rear, but I'll probably try for a cheeky undercut as well. You can see the 3 cars in front very close together. You can see the 3 cars behind. Well, 4, make it 5 if you want. All very close behind indeed. Of course, there's been an extra pit stop for RU, so the gap, that 5-second gap, remains for the top 9 for now. And we'll see once everyone does their pit stop how much they can do. RU Racing's put another set of softs on. Is he going soft to medium? Could be. Maybe that is for strat. I'm not sure, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe it is a 2-stop. Dropped it at turn 7, says Robin Creve. Turn 7. That is the one before 8, obviously, but the left turn before 8. Guessing maybe you went on too much curb, Robin? Maybe? I did that in career mode actually. I did take too much curb, span off, and then it ruined my race. Midnight gets a 3-second pen. Maybe he's feeling a bit of pressure. The Williams and the Mercedes are wheel to wheel out of turn 4. Sorry, this is 5, this is 6. I'm trying to still learn the circuit guide. And will the Williams make an outside switchback dive into turn 8? He does try it, a little bit of contact. Hopefully that didn't touch the wing of the Williams. We'll make sure he's got an end plate. He does have an end plate. And hopefully we don't overshoot the braking here, because it's very easy to do. They both cut quite a lot of curb there. And while they're tussling a little bit out of turn 9 and 10, Plusenball will be getting a little bit closer. Maybe he made a little bit of a mistake out of turn, I think it was turn 13, the straight before the start finish line. I think that was where it might have had F1 Linus, the retired car, might have had an impact on that. I wish people could kick the people, but I don't think I have access to. No, I don't. Because I don't think he's here. He's got a big X across his name. Chapelele trying to break the slipstream for the Williams. For Williams, he's come charging. Can he get the braking right to take as much of the inside curve as possible? The Mercedes will try and get the outside line to get the next inside line, and Chapelele gets away. But the Williams will have the DRS. He goes behind the Mercedes for as much as possible. Is he going to make a dive into turn number 4? He does kind of make a dive, and the wheel to wheel out of turn 4, but the Mercedes gets a tiny bit of a better exit, and they're being very, very careful to not influence them contacting to each other. But Williams makes a dive to the inside of 8. A lot of inside dives from a Williams here, but he just can't get past Chapelele. And whilst all this is occurring, the Alfa Romeo Plusenball is going, yes please, carry on, because he can get ever so closer to get that all-important overtake. He's had his soft tyres since lap 8. You can see the blisters in the tyres. He will be probably pitting very, very soon. There's a little gap to between the Alfa Romeo as teammates at 2.4 seconds. A couple of people have pitted, as you can see there, so 9th to 15th for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the drivers, of course, apart from the DNF, have pitted. And once everyone has pitted, we'll have a look at the up-to-date position changes, so we can kind of see what has happened at the start. The Williams is charging very quickly. He's doing 210. The Mercedes 197. He flies past, takes the inside. Chapelele will try and get a better exit out of turns 2 and 3 down to 4 to see if he can re-overtake the Williams. Midnight takes the inside line, and the Mercedes gonna, if he wants to overtake at turn 4, he's gonna have to get the outside move, and he does get the outside move. These two are overtaking each other about 6 times a lap at the moment, which is really, really good racing to see. I don't think any of them lock the tyres up, but Williams goes for like a mini switchback at turn 8, and he gets a little bit of a decent exit, but the Mercedes will always have the inside line for the next two. But the Mercedes overshoots and has that pressure from Midnight, got in first position. It definitely has for now. and it made Chappelele just overbrake that little bit. And maybe it's because of the worn tyres. Maybe he locked it up. We didn't quite see any smoke though. And maybe that was just the pure pressure from midnight on the Mercedes, and the Mercedes driver just overbraking it a little bit, and it's costing him a position for now. But I'm sure he'll be chasing to get it back. They both got about the same ERS, which is going to be really interesting. Chappelele tries to get the best exit he possibly can. And here we go then. Can he get the overtake on the start finish line? Considering he's right near the gearbox before the finish line, I'm sure he'll get the overtake. Midnight is seen to try and get the outside line. Does the Mercedes driver overshoot it again? To not overshoot, he tries to turn as early as possible. And the Williams might have got a short shift through the gears to get a better traction exit. And that works a treat as the cars are wheel to wheel coming down to turn 4. Please give me a good view. The Williams takes the inside for about the 55th time, and he tries to take the Mercedes driver off the circuit. Whether that was a racing line excuse or not, I'm not too sure. And he created a half a second gap to the Mercedes Chappelele. That was a bit of dirty driving. I'm sure Chappelele wouldn't have appreciated it. The gap to third place is 2.3 seconds. Plusenbol has pitted, he's come out 8th. It's not bad, that, if you can pit and come out 8th. It's not a bad effort, is it? There's a gap from the Racing Point to the Alfa Romeo, 4 tenths of a second. The Racing Point is going to make a dive into turn 11. He takes the inside for both wheel to wheel. Going into 12, the Alfa Romeo takes a little bit of a leading edge. The Racing Point can't get the traction to go fully right on his wheel, let's say. And he does well to recover that oversteery back end, and the Alfa Romeo retains third place for the moment. However, I'm sure the Racing Point will look to get a very good exit and overtake Mr. Valentino. On the straight, the good guy gets a 5-second pen for exceeding track limits. That's not going to help him. The Alfa Romeo of Valentino decides to pit. And I think it is a two-shot strategy, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think they can do 18 laps on mediums, because they can't even do 11. It's a one-stop, medium to hard. So Valentino goes on the hard compound tyre. I'm guessing the strat is medium to hard or soft medium. Yeah, don't know. What would you take more time by? Pitting 25 seconds, or doing the one stop? Who knows? We'll try and get an update on the position changes after. This is where the gaps change. They were within a tenth of each other. We're too wide going down into turn number 4, I believe this is. Jordi in the Toro Rosso is wheel to wheel with RC Sen in the McLaren. Jordi gets first dibs, he gets his nose into 6. And he leads down into turn 7. The Alfa Romeo Valentino, of course, just coming out of the pit, looking for a little bit of a chance to get involved with this 3-car action right here. The interval gaps are quite long around the circuit, so we'll see what happens here. 3 different companies of car, so you know that they all want to do the best they can, and none of them will be friends here. They'll all be foes. Can't remember the saying, friends or foes. And we'll just keep an eye on this, because especially on the start finish line, is going to be an interesting one. Valentino on a fresh set of hard tyres. Always read the graph to your left, ladies and gentlemen. The McLaren of Sen being forced wide, is that because of the pressure of the Alfa Romeo? I'm sure that is one of the factors. We'll get on board with the Alfa Romeo to see what overtakes are going to be done. RC Sen will have DRS as well, so it's all slipstream here, because we're all equal performance. It's all slipstream and exit performance. The Alfa Romeo does maybe a little bit of a fake to tell RC Sen, I'm gonna have a go at turn 1, but then he doesn't. Maybe it's tactical, we will see. The Alfa Romeo coming up to turn 4, I don't think he'll be able to get enough slipstream, and I don't think he'll make a dive either. A little bit of a fake again. And did RC Sen tap the gearbox of Jordi there? I'm not too sure. Didn't really see. We got Luke and Gasly first and second at the moment. They're yet to pit on the hard tyres. I'm sure they will do that this lap 13. If not this lap, of course, next. 14, and if not, they've just got fantastic tyres, haven't they? So we'll see. You know, another strategy could technically be, can you take them to 20 laps? But I don't think you can on 50%. You know, the question being, can they do 40 laps on 100%? The answer is no, not really. So we will see what the strategies are. Luke comes into the pits now. The Ferrari, I'm sure, will Chaparelli 3-second time pen. That will help him for concurrent warnings. The racing point is in now. We will see where this puts him. He'll put a set of hard tyres on to last him the next 16 laps remaining, including this one, of course. And we'll see where Luke comes out. He's probably going to come out. Chaparelli and the Williams at midnight. The first and second are still battling. Down into turn one they come. The Williams will get first dibs on the inside. And he lets the Mercedes go a little bit into out of turn 3 to 4. Maybe that was because he kind of let him down a little bit before. But the Prison Boy is saying, no, you can tussle all you like, but I'm not having any of this. And he goes into turn 4 and splits those two cars that have been fighting for the last 11, well, not 11 laps, but 9 to 10 laps at minimum. And we'll keep an eye on that battle. I just want to check up on this battle. So these positions seem to have stayed the same for a lap or two. Maybe Geordie's settling into, even though he's got pressure of Valentino behind him, maybe he's settling into a little bit of a race pace. Gasly's done an extra lap on these medium tyres. You can see the blisters in his tyres, and Armchair Bike's going to have to pit again, and we'll see where this leaves everyone with 15 laps to go very shortly. This is a very interesting battle because these cars have pitted. As you can see here, everyone has pitted except Gasly. Are You Racing is probably going to have to pit again. Armchair Bike is going to have to pit again, and the bottom three are going to have to pit again. But other than that, it stays exactly the same. The Ferrari of Gasly comes in, and we will see where he comes out. He's obviously going to put a hard set of compound in. You'll see the overtaking arrows as the Ferrari enters the pits. The hard tyres go on. Nothing wrong with the pit stop. And we will see where he goes out. He's already dropped to 10th. He's now dropped to 11th. And that's probably about right. I don't think he'll be overtaken by Vizzy, as he's a bit... Oh, he might do, actually. Oh, he does. The Mercedes of Vizzy gets past the Ferrari. And I can't see Causey. Causey's just come through the finish line in the background now. Armchair Bike's got a pit. That gap is going to be about 23 seconds. That might put him 12th or 11th for him. Was the strategy wrong, or is he going to prove it to be right? We will find out. Ball still splits the two cars that were fighting consistently, simultaneously, congregationally, whatever word you want to use, before, and he splits them up as we speak. Geordie F1 is 2 steps away from Valentino, going down to turn 11. He makes a dive to the inside of turn 11. He takes as much cover as he can to avoid contact, and there is contact, and the Alfa Romeo gets round the outside. I don't know if that caused any damage to the Toro Rosso. We'll just check on the front of his car. No damage for the Alfa, no damage for the Toro Rosso, and the McLaren RC10 says, well, if you're going to battle, I'm going to have a go as well. Behind Geordie, he comes down to turn 14. And I don't think he's going to make a dive. He'll brake as soon as possible, get a better exit on the curb, and see if he can overtake Geordie on the straight. It's going to be pretty difficult now because the exit wasn't great, and Geordie will have DRS and the car in front, and you won't have enough slipstream only speed to get passing down to turn 1, as those two are weaving around to stop the slipstream. The McLaren trying to short shift through the gears to get that braking action done. And Are You Racing comes into the pits. He puts mediums on. He's got 14 laps to go on those tyres. Armchair Bike now out of the pits. He's behind the Ferrari. Is Causey going to get past the Red Bull? No, he isn't. It's way too far away. And Armchair Bike has put a set of hards on. Now, unless he absolutely had to do that, he got pole in quali. Was 4th before he pitted, and now he's 11th. So, and he's on hard, so he's going to find it very difficult to get past the cars in front. What went wrong for Armchair Bike? We'll have to think about that. Whilst we think about that, the Mercedes and the Williams of Chaparral at midnight, respectively, did get past the Alfa Romeo Boy eventually. It might have been driving skill, might have been a mistake from Ball. Might have been that the tyres were a little bit older on Ball's side, but you can see Luke in the background, and he's coming back for a podium position. Valentino is 3.7 seconds behind Luke at the moment, so the top 4 seem to be the battle. Of course, the top 4 gap only 1.8 seconds between the top 4. I just said that. Luke sets the fastest lap 30.675. I'm sure that can be beaten the longer we go on, when we burn some fuel. Maybe someone will pit for the extra point if they won't get overtaken. I don't know. See what the gaps are in 12 or 11 or 12 laps time, so we have time to pit. Of course, we'll keep the dynamic view at the front for now. There's been an overtake from Armchair Bike and Gasly, the Red Bull driver showing some great speed from the start finish line, but the Red Bull of Gasly is going to say, no, you're not overtaking me that easy. Down to turn 4 we go, the wheel to wheel, bit of contact from a Ferrari onto the Red Bull, I believe, and the Ferrari just gets past now through turns 5, 6 and 7 respectively. We'll see if the Red Bull can decrease that gap. There's a 2/10 of a gap from the racing point to the Alfa Romeo. The Alfa Romeos are split by Luke, but of course Valentino is 4 seconds behind those, so I'm sure Luke's not worrying about that too much. Luke needs to worry about the Alfa Romeo in front of him, and we've seen it in real life, of course, where drivers work together a little bit and try and decrease their pace a little bit to hold up, when Valentino gets ever so closer, then we can work together. Chapelele 32.62 is the fastest lap as it stands. Those laps coming in, a point, yeah, don't sound like a lot at the end of the season. If you lose something by a point, you'll be pretty good. Of course, 21 extra points available, same as a win, kind of. We've just got to keep on top of these gaps. The Alfa Romeo is going to, I thought was going to have a little look into turn 4, but not the case. We'll try and keep an eye on it. There's a very small gap from the Red Bull to the Ferrari. The Red Bull thinks it's a sensible idea to slow himself down, try and get a better exit out of 2 and 3 here, and down to 4 we go. He will have DRS. He's using 4 ERS too. Will he get past the Ferrari? He will not on this occasion, and we will see what happens regarding that a little bit later on. The gap, we've got to keep an eye on this gap between Valentino and Jordi, because it's been 3-4 attempts very consistently. The Red Bull Toro Rosso makes a dive into turn 11. Wasn't so much of a dive, maybe the wrong phraseology. Maybe a little go at the inside of turn 11. Out of 12 they go out. Valentino gets that position back in 5th place. And we'll see if the Toro Rosso of Jordi can have a little go. Now that will help Valentino, because he's just got an exceeding track limit multiple warning penalty, I think, of 3 seconds. I'm not sure what penalties everyone has got, but I definitely know that Valentino's got one. And the thing is, that now makes the gap from, as the Toro Rosso trying to go past, he's probably going to try a switchback. Or maybe not, they're just wheel to wheel through turn 1. They were wheel to wheel through turn 2. The Alfa Romeo is the position behind, but what will the position be at turn 4? I think Jordi has secured that position for now. What was I saying? Yes, the gap between 4th and 5th is 4.7 seconds. A, while they're touched when it's getting longer. B, are they really going to catch 5 seconds on the same tyres? At this current race pace, the answer is pretty much no. So the top 4 are fighting for it now. Luke got a 2-second gap to Midnight. Maybe he overshooted a corner a little bit. Maybe the pace of Midnight and Chapelele is just too strong. If they keep slipstreaming each other, DRSing each other, overtaking each other without any, contact or concerns, they'll be getting away a little bit. But 2 seconds isn't a lot. We've seen Chapelele overshoot turn 10 before from an onslaughty pressure from Midnight. We've seen him overshoot some corners, and we just see if he does. But Williams getting some 209 miles an hour, absolute flying past that Mercedes. Mercedes will try and get a good exit out of turns 2 and 3 to have a little bit of go at Midnight. But was that overtake coming for a bit? I don't think they swapped a little bit before lap 13 for about 10 to 11 laps before. It was just consistent overtaking from the pair of them. But now has Midnight got the race pace to hold that position, increase the gap, and ultimately get 25 points like he did in Australia. He's looking in a good position. Obviously, mistakes can happen, penalties can happen, back markers may even happen. I don't think there's a back marker apart from Linus, which is just driving around really slow. The gap to the leader, 32 seconds, so he's definitely not any back markers, as there shouldn't be in Tier 1. And I'm just trying to look through the grid for any interval gaps. So Ferrari of Gasly, 6 steps behind Archer Mike. The Red Bull finally got past the Ferrari, and he at the moment is getting a point. The current fastest lap has been set by Chapelele. So far, Midnight's half a tenth behind that time, but Chapelele will be getting, as it stands, the bonus point. So as it stands, he will be leaving with 19 points instead of 18. Valentino in the Alfa Romeo is very, very close to Jordi. RC Sen has got a 3-second time penalty, but the gap behind him is 5.8 seconds. Won't hurt him too much. Kazai is in the pits. He's going to set. He's going to do a time penalty first, but he's also going to set a soft pair of tyres. And is Kazai going to try and steal the fastest lap point? Of course, he won't get that point because he's not in the top 10. But will he take the point off a potential top 10 driver? Chapelele was given a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. That is going to put his gap to 3.5 seconds. It's also potentially going to put him third or fourth because the leader gap, as you can see here, for him is technically, as right now, he would finish fourth because of that gap being 3.5, his gap being 3.4. As we speak, the Chapelele and Midnight having a scrap. Chapelele has now taken the provisional lead onto lap 22. I'd love to know how many times these cars have overtaken each other, because seriously, the answer is probably about 35. Maybe 2 times a lap. So probably more. Probably 35, maybe 30, probably more realistic. They've probably overtaken each other 30 times, which is unbelievable. But that's why we like Bahrain. Vizzy, Gasly have all pitted for the soft compound. Will they be able to catch 10th? Probably not. Will they be able to steal the fastest lap though? Yes, they will. Taking the point off, I think, was it Chapelele or Midnight that got fastest lap? Chapelele. Chapelele has, well, both of them have fantastic pace. Luke has a good pace to keep up with, 2.5 seconds behind. Plizenball's also got great pace. He's half a second behind third, and he's got 4 laps more used hard tyres. And for Valentino getting a 3-second time penalty, that'll technically drop him behind Sen, but it won't because Sen's also got a penalty. Sen might come into the pits. He's got 7 laps to go, sorry, to complete on those tyres. There's a very small gap between Valentino and the Toro Rosso. Alfa Romeo on the outside goes absolutely flying through. Into turn 1 they go. The Toro Rosso, I'm sure, will of Jordi try and have a little go down to turn 4, but I think these Valentino got away very, very well, very, very smooth, and Jordi will not be close enough to mount a push. Plizenball's having a really good attempt at Luke. Gasly gets a 3-second penalty, and we'll just give him bother with Alfa Romeo because he's doing really well. His tyres have been used a bit more, and he's having a really good go at Luke. The gap has stayed a half a second for the majority of the time, but look at the ERS situation. Luke's running out of ERS quite quickly. Kakaza goes 1:28.9, so he's got the fastest lap at the moment. Of course, he won't get the point as he's 12th, but it will steal Chapelele's point for the moment. We probably should remain at the top two, as these two will be fighting out to the end, we believe. And I don't want to miss it, and I'm sure you don't either. There's about 10 minutes of racing to go, maybe a little bit less. And will these positions be exactly the same? We'll have a quick look at the position change. I don't think Midnight will have enough speed to get past on this attempt. But these are the position changes. So as it stands, Chapelele is from 2 to 1st. Midnight's up 4 to 2nd. Luke is up from 11th to 3rd. Possible driver of the day there. These two absolutely storming down to turn 4. Midnight taking his driving line really carefully to mount the pressure on Chapelele and maybe let him make a mistake again. What happened before? Pleasant Boy down 2 to 4 with a yellow flag in set to 1. I'm not too sure who it was. I don't think anyone's lost too many positions. No. Jordan, good guy. Sorry, Valentino up from 12th to 5th. Sen 4th to 6th. The good guy has overtaken the Toro Rosso, and it was Jordi who had the accident. As you can see on the next picture that we get, he has got severe damage, and he can't even turn his car. It will give me a front wing shot eventually, but look at that. Jordi in the Toro Rosso has no wing at all. So he's going to have to pit, and that is going to cost him. He got 3rd in Australia last week. He's going to potentially get 0 points here. He can hold out. If he could hold out for 10 seconds, which he clearly won't because he's already dropped 2 seconds in 1 lap, that is not going to go well. So we'll see what happens to Geordie. Armchair Bike pole to 9th. Not gone the best for the Red Bull driver this evening. Are you racing 5th to 10th? Vizzy 14th to 11th. Of course, no points unfortunately at the moment. Causey 9th to 12th. Gasly up to. Geordie comes into a pits. We'll see where he comes. He is passed by the Red Bull. He will be passed by RU Racing, and he might even be passed by Kazai? I apologise. If you're watching this, Kazai, I do apologise. Please tell me how to pronounce your name. It's doing my nutting. Geordie comes out of the pits now, and he's in 11th place and 13 seconds behind a 10th, and it allows now that Mercedes of Vizzy to have a real good go at getting a point. I'm sure though Geordie will have put a fresh set of softs on. He's got 5 laps to chase Vizzy, and not only that, he might get the fastest lap, but it won't even count if he doesn't catch. Okay, sorry, I've just read that completely wrong. Sorry, he's 12.7 behind Vizzy, and he's not going to catch that in 4 laps, which is a shame. These two are still scrapping it out. I think Midnight was 2nd a minute ago, and now he's in 1st. I'm sorry I missed the overtake. I was concentrating on the Toro Rosso that lost its wing, and it really cost Geordie a chance at a point or any points this evening. It's been a really good race between these two so far. Like I say, if you just joined us for the end, these two have overtaken each other about 35 times this race. Midnight's been leading at some point. Chapelele's been leading at some points. Luke, Pleasant Boy and Valentino have been there. The gap has increased that little bit because these two have just got incredible pace. Both of them can win this race. Midnight, both of them, whoever's been in first, has been dealing with the DRS situation quite well. Of course, there's 3 DRS zones, so there's 3 points of time that's going to be decreased for these drivers to defend, and it's going to be really interesting. Midnight's got 52% EOS at the moment. Chapelele's got 62, so they basically got the same ish. And RC Sen gets another penalty, which is going to cost him a little bit. I know the interval gap's 4.3, but I'm pretty sure he had a penalty from before. We'll see if the Chapelele can have a go across the line. He absolutely flies past Midnight, and will that be the overtake that wins him this race? It might not be, of course, but it could be. On lap 27, there are 3 official laps to go. 4.5 minutes of racing left of Bahrain to see which one of these drivers can get the all-important pole position. And you've got to think, can we have what happened in race Spec? I think it was yesterday evening or this afternoon on a different time zone, but there was literally an opportunity where the second place vehicle overtook the first place vehicle literally on the last little bit. Geordie wasn't 12 behind, he was 3.5 behind. It was my apologies. Geordie sets the new fastest lap, and if he can get this 10th position and maybe make Vizzy over brake a little bit, if Geordie can get this 10th position, he might have recovered something from this race. He might have recovered a point, and a point for the fastest lap. It's not 7th where he begun. It's not where he would have liked to have finished. Of course, he got 3rd in Albert Park last week, but it will be something because he has the fastest lap now, and that probably won't be beaten. Gasly's pitting, but you know, qualifying pace, racing pace doesn't really stack up. But we have to maintain on board with these 2 brilliant drivers this evening. They've been less than a second since lap 5, quite literally, maybe even before that. We'll just have a quick view of the position change before something big happens, because I won't have access to it at the end. Chapelele up 2, Midnight up 4, those 2 doing really well. Luke, driver of the day potential, 8th to 3rd. Pleasant Bowl down 2, Valentina up 7, well done to him. Now he's up 8. He's got past his teammate. His teammate let it happen, which is fair enough. Sometimes you just got to do it. They're probably in communication, of course, and those 2 will be chasing to the last battle. Let's hope they don't crash into each other and ruin the day for Alfa Romeo, because Alfa Romeo only got 1 point last weekend in Australia. Now they're on for a potential 22, which is really good for Alfa Romeo tonight. But our focus comes into this battle here. Down to turn number 14 they go, and once they do 14 and 15, we are 1 lap away from finishing the Bahrain Grand Prix. Kazoy goes 28.6, fastest lap for him. He won't get it, of course, but it steals it off Geordie, so he's only getting a point as it stands. It's a yellow flag in sector 3. That is for Renault of Sen. The good guy goes past, and I'm not sure what happened. Maybe he lost traction. He's done 20 laps on the hard, to be fair, but we can't concentrate on that. We have to concentrate on these 2 drivers. Can Midnight do something special on the last lap of the Grand Prix to complete the 57th millionth overtake between these 2? Maybe a bit of over-exaggeration, ladies and gentlemen, but literally it has been overtake central. They've probably done in the region of 50 overtakes of each other, and that's no exaggeration. RC then goes in the pits. He feels like, even though he probably saved more time just staying out of the pits, to be honest, but there we go. The did that just slow Midnight down, that Renault car? I hope it didn't. I think it did, though. And Midnight's now more than a second. And does that mean, from this point, if Chapelele doesn't make a mistake, after the countless overtakes that both of them have done, is this the end of the race? And there's 2 turns to go. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. I think that's just the Red Bull driving really slow, but we won't pay attention to it. Now Chapelele has a penalty, doesn't he? And I just remembered that. and I'm not sure who finished, but I'm going to say Chapelele wins for Bahrain Grand Prix. He did have a penalty, which means Midnight wins for Bahrain Grand Prix. Chapelele finishes second. Luke finishes third by 500ths of a second, which is crazy. 500ths of a second. And he wouldn't have known that. Well, maybe he did. But could he have done maybe one little turn a little bit better? We don't know. Plusen Boy, the Alpha Male, and Valentino, 4th and 5th respectively for them. Good guy, 6th. Armchairman Red Bull finishes 7th place. He did 7th place in Australia. 2 sets of 6 points for him. Should RC Zen have pitted on the last lap? I don't know, but he might overtake the Mercedes on the last lap to claim 10th. He overshoots the curb, and is the Mercedes going to get the 10th point? I think he is, or the Alfa Romeo will. It's wheel to wheel, but the Mercedes just grabs that final point by, I'm not sure, maybe Sen has penalties because it says 10 seconds, but that was pretty close. And we're just waiting for Kazai to cross the line. Down to 13 he goes. His connection is all over the place, to be honest, but wow, what an outstanding race that was. Absolutely outstanding. From our point of view, ladies and gentlemen, of course I was watching it. Oh, and I mean, through the pits and into the car park he goes. And that was an absolutely fantastic race. Apart from Baku that I did last week, that is the best race I have ever witnessed. I say my commentary career, it's only been 2 weeks, but that was unbelievable. What a race by Midnight and Chapelele. Absolutely flawless, those two. Very podium finishes. I'm just going to recover my voice because I literally didn't have a drink and has spoke for the last 40 minutes of that. 20 minutes of it, probably shouting a little bit. I'm going to just take a quick picture of the final standings so I can kind of jot down, kind of make my own standings on a piece of paper to see what happened. We said the race would be done in 40 minutes. It was 45. It was done in 44, showing the absolute pace there. The best lap was done by a driver outside the top 10, of course. Wow, what a race. Mr. Luke missing out on a second place by 57 milliseconds, and that is how close it was, ladies and gentlemen. 57 milliseconds for Luke to get 18 points, but he leads with 15. I'm sure he won't mind. And the driver of the day, we can either go one of the VRTs at the front, of course different different car companies, but I think VFG Luke deserves it. 11th to 3rd is pretty special, and he had no penalties, so he drove a absolutely flawless race, and that was insane. And the highlights video is gonna be pretty long, isn't it? Drivers, if you're in here, please send us any extra clips that you may have, and I will put the confirmed up-to-date drivers and constructors championships at the end of the highlights video. That will come by the weekend, and I think we should all have a rest, shouldn't we? We should all go off and enjoy our Tuesday evenings, because what we just witnessed there was a fantastic race. Thank you all for tuning in. There was a European Series PC version that is on YouTube that you can watch as well, so you definitely know our content for Formula 1 at Race Spec. Join us next week, of course, for China. The American Series is at 2 AM in the morning. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great evening, and we'll see you sometime next week for China in Shanghai. Thank you.